All right, fellas, how we doing? We got Efrum Derz back at it again with another video, my boy. So it's been a couple of days. PSG lost to Chelsea. Want want. I mean, I don't think anybody saw that coming. To be real, if you put money on Chelsea, you're a happy lad. I tell you that. But PSG, I mean, Chelsea was just all over him. Didn't really let him do anything.
Yeah, so I mean, as you guys can tell, we got a little bit of a change of scenery. We're trying out these two angles, two mics, seeing how that goes. So bear with us, guys. It's kind of one of the reasons why we had to take a couple of days off. We were trying to tinker around, and we still haven't gotten it as to perfection yet. But we'll get there. Just like how PSG was a work in progress, we're a work in progress also. So yeah, alongside the Club World Cup, we got some transfer rumors that we'll get into later. But I guess we'll start off with this PSG game. Wow, it was a hot summer day, but Cole Palmer came to chill it out. How do you feel about that?
I mean, that man is cold, man. Honestly, both goals were the exact same thing. That's what kind of blows my mind. But it's just like the simple thing he does, especially on that second goal, man. Like João Pedro's kind of goes on the outside, and the defender's on him, and so there's Vitinha, which is on Cole Palmer, the defender in the back, which I think that center back, what's his name? Ronaldo. He sold the game. Honestly, he did too many mistakes. I think every goal was on his side, but when the guy went around him, Vitinha kind of went towards him. Brawler should have been aware. All right, he's going. I'm gonna go with Palmer. They both went for the player. He immediately faked both of them, and you can't get fake. You can't fake two players. You know, especially if you're center back, you got to be aware. Like either he's going, I'm going, and just instant thinking. You know, I know it's easier said than done, but those are the little mistakes that cause goals. And that little hesitation, fake punk. Both players went towards João Pedro. Obviously, he kept going straight. And then he does another fake pump where Brawler realizes, oh shit, I'm already screwed. Let me go. Last minute, he gets faked with the pump and just like blocks and falls to the ground. And then after that, it's just him and the net. Even the goalie dove a little bit, but I mean, that was just straight class from Cole Palmer. You know, like just simple movements like that, just passing it to the bottom of his net. We've seen him do it many times, is what he does. And he doesn't need a lot of power. Just a raw amount of fucking placement, lad, and he gets it in. And there we go goes. I mean, there was nothing PSG could have done. I feel like Chelsea was really all over him, you know? They even took out Kvaratskhelia early on second half because, I mean, he wasn't really doing much. And, uh, yeah, I mean, it was a total blowout from Chelsea's point of view. And they're full of confidence right now. We'll see how they do in the season coming up.
Yeah, so I think in this case, interesting to see a Chelsea who's we've seen them. They're not the best defensively, being able to contain PSG to 0 goals, which we've seen. They're probably the best team offensively at the moment. Maybe Joao Pedro was that missing link that they needed, just like how PSG needed Kvaratskhelia to kind of open open the door for their success. So we'll see how that goes into this next season. Kind of sucks for Liam Delap, signed, rejected Man U to go to Chelsea, gets benched immediately by a new striker. That's just how Chelsea works. They operate in a way where the competition is very, very deep. And if you're slacking today, you lost your job tomorrow. So, I mean, congrats to Chelsea. Definitely, I think, surprised us all. I mean, I think I said it before. I said 10-0. Like if, I didn't think it was actually going to be a 10-0 game, but I was definitely leaning towards a PSG blowout. But I mean, kudos to them. They were able to figure it out, and they figured out PSG. Actually, after the game, I guess I heard today, what day is the 18th or 19th of July? Uh, PSG sent in a bid of 250 million for Cole Palmer. It got rejected. That's a lot of money, but I mean that just shows how PSG felt about that game. They felt like Cole Palmer really did it to him. He gave it to him. So, I mean, we'll see how this Chelsea develops. Maybe as Joao Pedro again. Maybe he's like that missing link who opens that space. How you're talking about pulling defenders and letting Cole Palmer kind of be more of a threat through that middle. But that's the Club World Cup. I mean, overall, my feelings of it were decent. We only saw one major injury coming out of it, so I'm thankful for that part. I'm interested in seeing what kind of thoughts you have, I guess, about the whole tournament as a whole as we come to its conclusion.
Yeah, so the whole tournament, I mean, I think it was a good way to kind of bring in players that you just brought, as far as it being like a preseason tournament. I mean, not many teams did bring players. Like, I don't think Chelsea had brought in a player. They just kind of used their OG squad. But I mean, it's a well refined machine. You will give him that. But you had teams like Real Madrid, Chelsea. I think even Atletico trying out players they brought in, and it's just it was very experimental. You start seeing how teams are gonna play, and I kind of it was fun to see. And it was fun to see those Brazilian teams, a lot of those South American teams, just being able to compete with the big dogs in Europe, so they could kind of show them was good. I mean, Botafogo was doing really good at the start. You would have expected them to go far. Then towards the end, uh, they made one team made it to the semis, Fluminense, and it really left a statement for those South American teams, which was good to see. I feel like they're very underappreciated. People just see them as not Europe trash, but they gave it to them. They gave him to a lot of teams, and yeah, it was just fun to see a lot of the new players coming in. Trent and Dean Huijsen just linking up with Real Madrid. That was cool to see. Um, but yeah, I mean, for teams that weren't in the Club World Cup, I feel like it also benefited them a lot, being able to just kind of train together, and while other teams are competing, playing games, they have more time to kind of work on their system, getting it down, work with each other. So we'll see if other teams took advantage. But I mean, I had a good time watching the Club World Cup. More exciting than what I thought it would be, honestly. And I mean, I wish the final could have been a little bit more, not so one sided. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, definitely with the 3-0 lead at halftime, you definitely feel like, case closed. Let's wrap it up and move on. But yeah, interesting points. I do agree. It was a good tournament. At the beginning, I was like, oh, another money grab move from FIFA. And maybe at the very beginning, or I guess the birth of it, it was like a way to generate more money and get more American fans into the sport to eventually generate more money because, being able to have like just the American population, they have, there's more money here than there is in other countries. So of course, this is a market that they want to tap into. But overall, it was cool to see, like you said, Brazilian team play against European teams, like South American teams getting involved, African teams getting involved, teams that you've never heard of, like Esperance, like that team from South Africa. I'm forgetting their name already, but we got to see teams like that. Moving on, I think we got some transfer rumors going on. Some
Big transfers,
big
big
transfers coming
transfers.
in from your team, Liverpool. I asked ChatGPT to send me a list of like what's like kind of like actually going to happen because a lot of times these sources are not reliable. So I got some transfers and we'll just kind of dive into them. We got Embuemo to Man U, Hugo Ekitike to Liverpool, Madueke Gyökeres and a youngster Mosquera from Colombia to Arsenal. We have Zabarni from Bournemouth. Spurs and PSG are fighting over him, and Rasmus Højlund potentially to Milan. So looks like Man U is trying to mix it up on the top on their forwards. Let's start off with, I guess, Man U. We got Embuemo basically replacing Rasmus Højlund. They already got Cunha. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, two players who already established themselves really well in the Premier League. Man United is a team right now that obviously they're not like they used to be back then. They're more in the rebuilding phase. That manager, Amorim, I feel like he's a good manager. He's done good things. Just has to get the right players, the right system working. You can't have an ego, I feel like, with him. I think that's why Rashford's at the door. You got Garnacho at the door. So, which I think is a plus for the team. But players like Cunha, and Bomo just looks solid. I think they're gonna only help them out. Do I think Man United will finish top four with those players? I don't think so, but they'll be definitely contending for Europe and do a lot better than what they finished last season. What was it, 13? Ridiculous.
I I think it was lower. I think they finished like 16th. But yeah, Embuemo for me, Cunha for me, I think they fit the system a little bit better. Um, I don't know what they're gonna do as far as like an out and out striker because I don't see Embuemo being like an out and out striker. I think he's like a support striker. How he did it for Tony, and Wisa, right? He was kind of like their support striker. So I think they still need like an out and out striker if they're gonna potentially get rid of Rasmus Højlund. I think Højlund, he was proven in Serie A, so maybe it's a good move for him to go to AC Milan. But yeah, he just didn't cut it at Man U for whatever reason. We'll see what happens there. Going on the Ugo Ekitike move to Liverpool, you were talking about it beforehand, how it's kind of like a more of like a chess move rather than an actual move for the player to potentially get Isak. What do you think about that? What do you see as far as being a Liverpool fan? I know you have more.
I mean, it wasn't. At first, it seemed like a chess move. It was either you choose or we choose for you, because yeah. Let me explain. So Newcastle started going in for Uko Ekitike, right? And they already have Isak. Obviously, they had said from the start that they were going to sell Isak, so they really wanted like the two forwards, um, with these two, and it kind of seemed like, all right, why is Newcastle getting Isak? I mean, Ekitike, two good strikers. Um, are they already planning for Isak's exit, or do they just want two good strikers? So that's what people were thinking. That's what I was thinking during that time. Liverpool want to go talk to Newcastle. Hey, well, we got the money to buy Isak. You just got to open the doors. If not, then we're gonna go after Ekitike. So pretty much saying, look, you can't have both. But which one do you want? Either you guys go for Ekitike if we get Isak. If not, we're gonna take Ekitike. Which sounds like, like a big power move, all this and that. But if you really think about it, they just kind of knocked on the door with Isak. Look, they were respectful. We have the money. Do you want him? Not. If not, then we're gonna go back to our plans with going with Ekitike. If Newcastle was already going for Ekitike, it just sounds like the most reasonable replacement for Isak. Why not get the second best? And I think Ekitike. I mean, I would rather have Isak because he's been more established. Ekitike's got a lot of room to grow. Um, but he just hasn't improved himself like Isak has. So it is more of a bet, trying to go for Ekitike, especially for the amount of money they were willing to put in, 70, 80 mil, I think. It's more of a gamble for sure, but I think he could just mold him the way he wants, Slot does, and really get the best out of him, especially with players like Verts, Salah, Gakpo around him. Um, and then they're also working on getting Rodrigo. So if Luis Diaz leaves, which is in the horizon, people are talking, he's open to the idea of leaving. We're not going to let him go for cheap. But if he does leave, we'd probably be looking into bringing in Rodrigo. We're already getting pretty much Ekitike. Um, most of the teams we would lose to had a really good, solid defending block. And just having those players, one touch football, quick, just connection. Ekitike plays like that. It's almost like a Firmino who's got height. And then you got Verts right behind who can just play in small spaces. I think that's what he's kind of trying to go for. We had players that are just attack. Gakpo can cut right. It's the last same thing, but we didn't really have a technical uh, player to run that offensive, when we're inside the box. Bringing in those players, we're going to be cooking, bro. We're going to be cooking. And I think that's what Arne Slot's trying to build. Work around. You've seen his style, one touch football almost, and I think that's what he's trying to do with the offense. But we'll see what goes. For sure, we're getting a TK. We'll see on Rodrigo. We'll see about Luis Diaz if he leaves or stays. I would love to keep Diaz, but I wouldn't mind Rodrigo either.
Yeah, so interesting to see what Liverpool's doing, and I think it causes more teams to, you know, really start to think about what they're going to do in the transfer window because obviously you have to compete against your team, the teams in your league. So when one team gets boosted as far as transfers, you also want to get some transfers. So Arsenal's going in for Gyökeres. It looks like Shesko. They put in I think they asked for 100 million for Shesko. They didn't think that it was worth it. So now they're going in for Gyökeres. Um, that's a whole issue in its own, just because the sporting director from Sporting doesn't want to let him go for less than 70, but supposedly they had an agreement with, like, personally with Gyökeres and his sports director, saying if we get an offer for 70 million, you could leave. Now they're kind of like going back on that and saying, you know what, nah, I think we could get more out of you, and it's kind of a frustrating situation. So obviously Arsenal wants to pay the least amount, and Gyökeres just wants to leave. So there's that. There's also Noni Madueke. I don't understand it. Paying 50 million, upwards of 50 million for a player that's potentially going to be on the bench. I mean, why don't look at different leagues, South American leagues, the Dutch league, for a winger that could probably do just as good as a job. Noni Madueke really hasn't even proven himself. I saw his stats. I mean, of course, stats aren't everything, but I think he only had 7 Premier League goals last season, and to pay 50 million for somebody like that, it just doesn't make sense when you have other players in different leagues that could probably do just as good as a job. I mean, the thing with wingers is they're pretty expensive. I mean, the ones that come out to my head right now are Leao and Rodrigo and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens there. Looks like Gyökeres is kind of like a done deal. Noni Madueke seems like it's pretty close. Um, yeah, I don't really understand these transfers, but Mikel Arteta's a smart guy. He hasn't won anything yet, but I'm sure he sees something in them, and he's been good with his transfers, I think.
Yeah, bro. Seventh phase Arteta is gonna go crazy this year. They might get second again. Who knows? Who knows? Nah, but overall thoughts. A lot of transfers happening. It's gonna be a good season. I'm really excited for Madrid, Liverpool. I think Chelsea's gonna be looking really good. I think what their manager is doing right now is really good. Um, Arsenal's always gonna be a threat, but yeah, I'm really excited to see what those teams are cooking this season. I think Liverpool, this is an era of domination that we're gonna start seeing. They still got money to spend. They're gonna use it. They're gonna bring in the big players more than what they've already brought, and aren't this is just the beginning of Arne Slot. So I think this is the start of a dominating era, is what they're trying to do, and I'm here for it. We haven't spent it like this with Jurgen, and now we're doing it. We're spending the money. I think they're here to fucking just take over. And I hope they do. Even with Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues, let's do it all. But it's not gonna be easy. You got teams like Madrid, so we'll see. Anything else?
No, I think I mean, again, we apologize with the whole situation right now. We're still trying to figure out how to work this thing. I'm sure with time it'll get better, but we're gonna have to close this one out a little bit early, just because we got some personal stuff to handle. But like always, we appreciate you guys watching, supporting, commenting, liking, and all that. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.